The Concept 1B is an overpowered tank in a lot of regards. It's incredibly fast, going in at a top speed of 45 kilometers per hour, carrying 10 degrees of gun depression and a turret that is virtually impossible to penetrate, even with a Ho-Ri shooting premium rounds. The Concept is just one of those tanks that is pretty self-explanatory to why it's so overpowered. However, the T-100LT is the Russian Tier 10 light tank, and this vehicle for certain players is incredibly overpowered, but not for everybody. And I do want to point that out before I start talking about this vehicle in today's video. Light tanks are not for everybody, and the T-100 is definitely the first true light tank we have in Blitz. Yeah, the Batchat, I think that was the closest resemblance before this vehicle to a light tank playstyle. Flank your enemy, get some shells out, and then run away. And if you look at like the Vickers Light, well, that's basically just a medium. It has actually decent armor, and it can poke and use gun depression like a medium tank. And the Sheridan, it just kind of pops you for 560 and then backs away and says, ha ha. Kind of like a mobile tank destroyer. The T-100LT is the first vehicle that I've seen in this game that can actually play like a light using its mobility and actually have a spotting mechanic that lets it outspot its opponents while doing some pretty sneaky things in the process, because it has the best camouflage in Tier 10 by quite a bit as well. So this is not an easy vehicle to run. If you are not great at the game or you do not understand how to run vehicles like the T-100LT, you will not do well in the tank. That's pretty self-explanatory. But for the people that do understand how to use light tanks and the positioning that is required to use them, this is possibly the most overpowered tank in the game, and that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video from a skilled player's perspective, why the T-100LT needs to be nerfed. Now, the spotting mechanic, it's already pretty busted. I cannot tell you how many times, and I'll get into some gameplay while we're talking about this, but I can't tell you how many battles I have played in heavy tanks or tank destroyers since this vehicle being released where I have been spotted, and then I have to sit and wait 20 seconds before poking. It's quite an annoyance, and that's what this vehicle can do. If you're on a map like Dead Rail, Oasis Palms, or really any map where tank destroyers like to sit at the back of the map in spots that are usually exposed, specifically like Oasis, when you sit at the back in a TD, if you get detected and a T-100 shoots you, it can just keep shooting you and shooting you and shooting you until you either die or you get in the cover, but at that point, you've lost maybe 900 to 1500 health trying to run away. So the T-100 has definitely made tank destroyers quite useless. I think one thing Wargaming should have done, which would have been a very good balancing factor for the spotting mechanic, is make it so that tank destroyers are not affected by it. Make it that vehicles like the 183, when they get detected, aren't detected for 20 seconds. They're only detected for 10. I think that would have made it a lot more fair and balanced, but that's my personal opinion. The vehicle also has 3,500 DPM, which is obviously the same as vehicles like the 62A, but oh yeah, it also has pretty good dispersion and fantastic on-movement dispersion as well, the same as the 62A. So it's accurate on the move. If you're running refined gun, which I am, it's accurate in general with 0.285 dispersion, and it has fantastic penetration. I've heard a lot of people try to argue that the pen is a balancing factor, but it's not, because it has AP standard pen and AP premium pen. Now, what other vehicle in the game is broken with AP pen? Oh yeah, that's right, the Ho-Ri. While the AP pen on this vehicle may not be fantastic, it's very comparable to other Tier 10 mediums, meaning that if you were to load premium shells on an E100 turret or a Jagdpanzer frontally, you can penetrate it easily, as long as you're running Kali, which is what I would suggest to do. It's got 420 HE alpha, which means if you do run into vehicles like a Batchat, not only can you put on adrenaline, raising your DPM upwards of 5,000, but then if you're shooting HE at that vehicle, you're upwards of 7,000 DPM. Yes, you heard that right, 7,000. Yeah, it's just a ridiculous vehicle. There's not much else to say about it. It's the fact that it's mobile, it's got an incredibly accurate gun, and it kind of just makes a vehicle like the Batchat feel useless, because it's a Batchat but better in literally every regard. You reload a standard shell only 2 seconds longer than a Batchat's overall intraclip. So you're just going to watch in this game how I'm able to use the mobility and everything else to my advantage to come out with a win. I played 13 battles in the T-100 today, and out of those 13 games, I won all of them. Averaged over 3,000 damage, and my average damage isn't actually that amazing in the vehicle. I mean, it's around 3,500, but I feel like I could average more if I played it more like a medium, but the point is that you don't play a light like a medium. That's one thing a lot of people get confused about this vehicle is they think, well, it's got decent armor, why don't I just play it like a medium tank and brawl with the mediums? Well, it doesn't do a good job at that. It does a much better job at doing what I'm doing here, which is peppering the heavies when they're not looking at you, and forcing them to try and push on you and then drive away and deal with somebody that's secluded. That's what you want to do in a light tank. And that's what I'm going to do. I've just forced that IS-4 to drive towards me. Now I'm going to drive away. And since that guy's going to take at least 20 to 30 seconds to get to me, I'm going to keep driving. Beautiful snap into the object 268 there. And now I've got the full VK 168. So instead of dealing with that 121, I'm just going to completely ruin this guy's day. And that's already 600 damage we've taken off of him. I mean, the ability to output this much damage is insane on the tank. We're already at 3,400, but wait, there's more. We sound like Tony the Tiger there. Great. So we got 2 tanks left. We have an enemy Chieftain Mark 6 and as well an IS-4. And again, I'm going to use that mobility. The 50 or 68 kilometers per hour goes. It's crazy on the acceleration. It's kind of like an LTTB, just a tier 10. In fact, that's about the closest comparison I can think of this vehicle is an LTTB at tier 10. But here we go. We got the IS-4, and now we're just going to pepper him. Easy shot into the side of his vehicle, tracking him. And because the accuracy is so good on move, I'm going to track him again. There you go. Now he's stuck in place. I mean, just look at how I'm able to bully this heavy. Even if this IS-4 was full health, there is no chance he would have had to beat me. And this is where the tank is stupid. It's not even really the spotting mechanic. I mean, yeah, I do think there are games where the spotting mechanic is broken and it shouldn't exist. It gives you mechanisms that you wouldn't normally have in a battle, where I can spot somebody, let's say like a medium or a light tank, and know if they're pushing towards the medium route or the heavy route, and they won't know that they're spotted for 20 seconds half the time, because I'll be honest, not everybody knows about the spotting mechanic on this vehicle. There was a comment on one of the short videos I made just explaining how the spotting mechanic on Dead Rail was pretty busted, and there was somebody that commented in the description that, wow, I didn't know these tanks had the spotting mechanic. I was like, my guy, we've been talking about this. Meaty, all these YouTubers have been talking about the spotting mechanic for the last months, and you didn't even know it existed? And there's a lot of people that don't watch YouTube, and I guarantee there's people watching this video that still won't even understand after me explaining this spotting mechanic, how it still works. It's sad, but that is the truth. That leopard, now spotted for 20 seconds. And as soon as I know that, basically I know that if that guy doesn't come towards base C, that, well, it's free reign over here. And as you'll notice, he's not. He's just sitting over towards A side, middle between B. So now I'm going to push up. And this is where, again, using the mobility of a light tank just lets you feel so incredibly strong. When you play on Supremacy, you have such a major advantage, especially in a light, to be able to capture the bases and control them by spotting your opponents. So here we go. We got the VK72 off to the side, AMX-50B, and an M6Yo. And I'm just going to continue pushing over here. I'm trying to think, well, what do I want to do? We got the Leopard 1, we got the IS-4. Trying to think, well, what would be the best opponent to shoot at right now? And then, well, it hits me. I got the 50B and the M6Yo at A. And if I poke this spot correctly, which you can see right here, there's a beautiful gap I have right on this M6Yo. There you go. Now that Yo is spotted for 20 seconds. Now he is permanently lit. So even if he backs behind cover, he's just going to stay detected. So he's behind cover, still spotted. Now we'll spot the AMX-50B for 20 seconds. And there you go. Those vehicles are basically locked down there. We're going to shoot another shell, but he just pulls forward the moment we fire. So we didn't get that shell out, but it's not the end of the world. Maybe this one. Oh, come on. Come on, T-100. Don't do me like that. So yeah, the dispersion on this vehicle, it's great, but obviously RNG does play a factor into every battle you play. So sadly, that shell did not want to connect. The enemy team still has 7 tanks left, but I've lit up all their heavies, which means I know exactly where the heavy tanks, which are the biggest threats to me, are. Now that the Leopard's detected, I'm going to come up behind him, and because I'm a light tank with, for some reason, 3,500 DPM, I basically win this trade with the Leopard every day. So there's 2 shells in his vehicle, I back up, and, I mean, just watch the armor. Yep, there you go. Light tanks, ladies and gentlemen. I can't tell you how many shells I've bounced off of the upper plate of a T-100LT. I was using my VK168 yesterday, and I bounced a shell right on the side. Oh, look, there's an IS-4, ladies and gentlemen. Let me back up. Oh, maybe we can get another shell in. Come on, I believe in you, T-100. Let's aim in, fire, and oh yeah, that's right. IS-4 just bounced right off of my upper plate. You can see the shell right there. So, pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. If you over-angle this tank purposefully, you can bait shells on that upper plate, as it's over 300 thick at certain angles, and if you angle it over a 72-degree angle, it's going to bounce every shell. Now that was just unfortunate. I mean, it's a grill, and it didn't pen, but speed! We're going to shoot him again, and I mean, just look at how sad this is. This grill stands literally no chance. At least if this was a bat chat, the grill could have shot me quite easily, probably. But I'm just bullying this guy. We're already at 3,700 damage, and here's another shell into his tank. Boom. 388 max roll. I mean, I've taken him down to 400 health at this point. He gets one shell into me. I get literally 1,800 hit points into him, and he gets 600 into me. That's not the best of trades, is it, my guy? No. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the T-100LT. It's not even an opinion. I mean, Fatness already did his live stream about why this vehicle is overpowered. I am now doing a video saying that this tank is overpowered. If you don't think it is, it's just you don't understand how to run a light tank right now. That's really the best advice I can give you is practice with your lights, understand how to run them, because in the hands of a good player, this is the scariest tank to come up against. I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with these on my freaking butt with heavy tanks, and there's nothing you can do because you got to deal with the heavies in front of you, and this stupid little T-100 just runs through you, and he's like, doot, 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 and just... Yep, it's one of the most annoying things I've had in a while. I mean, you watched me do it to the enemy heavies. I was shooting that M6 show, the AMX-50B, the IS-4. They couldn't do anything to me. I mean, even if I got shot once, oh no. Oh boy, I lost 1/5 of my hit points. Let me continue shooting you now. It's stupid. It is very, very stupid. And because of that, my stats are stupid. My win rate is 87%, and my average damage is around 3,500. My average damage dropped a bit, but I'm really focusing on win rate, trying to home in that light tank playstyle. So I'm hoping maybe at 100 battles I'll have over an 85% or something like that. But only time can tell. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and hopefully Wargaming will nerf this vehicle. But other than that, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.